So let's everyone take a moment and settle in. Allow yourself to feel grounded. Whenever there's times where things are chaotic, which it seems like we're in a cycle of that, reminding yourself to take a moment here and there and just pay attention to your body. Notice it touching surfaces so that you can feel that connection. Think about lifting up through the crown of the head and opening up space in the body. Allow yourself to just relax and notice your breath. You don't have to breathe in any particular way, just pay attention to it. Now, on the next exhale, we're going to lower our chin toward our chest. And as the chin comes down, notice how close the chin comes to your chest. If your neck's pretty tight, maybe it doesn't quite reach the chest at this point. And on the inhale, let's lift our head up to level. Lift up through the crown of the head so your shoulders drop down, your neck elongates, and then consider lifting your chin up. So as you do that, you might be feeling some stretching through the collarbone region, the chest. Make sure you're not getting compression at the base of the skull. And on the exhale, let's lower the chin down. So each time the chin comes down, we want to notice if there's a little more release in the back of the neck. Inhale, lift your head up, lift the chin above level. And on the exhale, let's lower the chin down. We're going to do one more set of these, and then we're going to take it further and further down into our spine. So once again, inhale, elongate the neck, lift the chin up. You might be feeling it in your back, even though we're not necessarily moving there already. And on the exhale, let the chin come down. Now, when the chin comes down, maybe this time it gets all the way to the chest. So notice how that feels. This time when we lift up, we're going to start to draw our shoulders back. As you draw your shoulders back, notice how this feels. It should feel like a pretty good stretch from shoulder to shoulder. And on the exhale, let's lower the chin down. Maybe round the shoulders forward a bit. So let's take your time, inhaling and exhaling. So now we're down into the shoulder complex. You might be feeling it somewhat in the mid-back. This time when we draw our shoulders back, notice that gentle arch in the back. And on the exhale, let the shoulders come forward, round out that mid-back a bit. So let's move through this at our own pace. And remember, if you want to keep it isolated to the neck and shoulders, you can. But as those areas start to relax and release, you might decide you want to take it further and further down. And again, as we come down into the abdominal region, that's going to create compression, decompression in our abdomen. Once more, inhale. And once more on the exhale. Now, let's put our hands on our knees and really round out that mid-back. And then from here, we're going to go ahead and place our hands in front of us. Let your shoulders stay relaxed. Let's hinge at our hip flexors. Maybe walk our hands out. You can come down onto your forearms. So we're folding over the legs. We're getting a little bit of gentle compression in the abdomen. Make sure you're not tensing up your neck and shoulders when you get here. Relax and breathe. Now walk your hands over to the right. As you do, notice how the left side of your body feels. Rib cage, waist and hip, and breathe. This is a gentle lateral flexion of our spine. Come back to center, take your hands over to the left and notice the right side of the body. And breathe. Now we're going to bring our hands back to center, walk your hands in, and then allow yourself to bring your attention into the shoulders again by lifting the shoulders up by the ears. Let the muscles here at the top of the shoulders shorten and soften. And on the exhale, let's just let the shoulders drop with an audible exhale. Inhale, lift up. Exhale. Once again, inhale. And once more, exhale. Now we're going to we're going to make circles with our shoulders. We're going to start with just one shoulder. Lift your right shoulder up. Now, let's bring that right shoulder back and take your time when you do that because you want to feel above and below the collarbone and also between the shoulder blade and spine. Let your hand come down behind you. So notice when you do this, you'll feel more stretch to the front. You might feel this down your arm a little bit. And now let's sweep that arm forward, lift the shoulder up, allow that shoulder to draw back. Release your hand down and again, sit up nice and tall and make sure the front of the body is all aligned. Sweep that hand forward, lift the shoulder up, draw your shoulder back, and now place that hand behind you. Sit nice and tall, turn the fingertips toward the back of the mat. You're gonna feel a lot in the shoulder cap, between the shoulder blade and spine. Take a minute and relax. If you want to, you can take your left hand and place it on your right knee. Now remember, we can keep our head in alignment with our shoulders. We don't actually have to turn the neck for this. Just notice how this feels. And breathe. You can slide the left hand in closer to your hip, press against the thigh. And this is going to take the twist a little deeper, but again, we want to keep that neck relaxed as much as you can. Back to center. Let's lift our left shoulder up. Draw the left shoulder back. Take it back behind you, release your hand down. Keep it in the down position as you sweep it forward. Lift the shoulder up. Exhale, draw that shoulder back, release your hand down. One more time, let's bring that hand forward, lift the shoulder up. And on the exhale, we're gonna draw the shoulder back, release that hand down. Again, try to keep the torso facing forward. Fingertips are pointing away from the front of the body. And just let the muscles relax. Again, getting into a position where you are stretching an area gently, but giving yourself permission to relax into it if you can. That's just challenging. So we just have to kind of try a new approach to things. And then after we've been in this position for a short time, let your right hand come over to your left knee. Sit nice and tall. So you're turning your torso. Head can be in alignment with your shoulders. Notice how much you feel that between your shoulder blade and your spine. And again, you can slide that right hand in close to your hip, which is going to deepen the stretch or the twist just a little bit. And breathe. And then we're going to come back, let both arms relax a little bit. Now, we might decide to lift both shoulders up, draw the shoulders back, place your fingertips behind you, work both hands in nice and close. Now, what we're not doing is leaning into the hands or the fingertips. We are using them to stabilize, keeping the shoulders back and down, and we're sitting up as tall as we can. Now, all the muscles along the spine on both sides are going to come into a shortened position. So take a minute and notice how that feels. And let the shoulders drop down even more if you can. And breathe. And then let your body relax. So if the shoulders are chronically tight or tense, that's a good place to start those simple movements to get your shoulders to relax. Now, at this point, everything should be down and neutral. And then as we go about our daily activities, try noticing if you tense up your shoulders or you overstretch your shoulders. Now, from here, let's go ahead and do a few hip circles. We're moving to a different part of the body. We're going to do it really nice and gentle, though. Allow yourself to lean to the right from your hips. Lean toward that right knee. Come to the center. Over to the other knee. And back to center. So notice I have my hands on my knees, but I'm trying to be aware of the fact, am I tensing up my shoulders? Now you can take your hands away from your knees if you want. Let those hands be out there and kind of relaxed. Maybe you sweep them along with the circles. It's up to you, but just make sure we try to keep the area we already worked a little bit more soft and comfortable here. Now, when you come back to center, we're going to pause. Let's go ahead and do some circles in the other direction. You might switch to cross the legs. Take your time. Notice how this feels. Let's go ahead and think about making some circles in the opposite direction. And take your time and notice. Breathe. Again, be aware. The tensing of your neck and shoulders. Try to keep the focus in the hips as you're moving through this. Come back to where we started. So we basically did all of our 6 ranges of motion of our spine, and then we did our gentle hip warm-ups. Let's go ahead and move into a child's pose. Let your shins rest on the mat, ease your hips back towards your heels, stack your hands flat or in fists underneath your forehead. And then figure out where you want your elbows. Taking your elbows wider is going to relax more space across your upper back. Just make sure you're not tensing your shoulders here. So child's pose is going to add some compression to your abdomen. It's a calming forward fold generally. And here we're going to place our hands on the mat, fingers spread wide. Let your hands be about shoulder distance apart. We're going to shift our body forward, shoulders over the wrists, knees underneath the hips. Engage the back muscles, keep your neck neutral. So tabletop position, again, not an exciting pose, but definitely one that you want to do on a regular basis to start to strengthen your core. And then from here, you can lift your gaze forward, let the center of your spine drop down, tailbone tilts up. Notice how this feels. And then on the exhale, tuck your tailbone under, draw your chin to your chest, lift the center of your spine up. So let's move through this a few times, inhaling and exhaling. Flexion and extension of the spine. Once more inhale. And once more on the exhale. Now let's come back to neutral. Let's take our right leg back behind us, tuck the toes, level the hips out. So notice how that feels. We're stretching the back of that right leg. You can take that right leg, cross over the left, tuck your toes on the outside of the body. Notice how your right hip feels when you do that. If you look over your left shoulder at your right foot, you're coming into a more of a full lateral flexion of your spine. Nice hip stretch here. Bring your right leg back to center. Step your right leg forward and through. Now, place your left hand across from the right foot, right hand on your right knee. If you like, turn your torso to the right. Now we want to start to stack the shoulders over that left hand. Lift your right arm up if you like. Modify twisted low lunge. If you need a little bit more engagement, tuck the toes on your left leg, come off your kneecap and press through the heel. And so notice how that feels. Now, right hand comes down on your right knee. Gently set the left knee down, top of the toes come down as well. Allow yourself to press into that knee, lift your body up, stack your torso over your left hip, bring your right foot in so you have a bit more stability. Let your arms relax. Now, we can lift our arms up overhead. We want to keep our shoulders relaxed, palms facing each other. You can stay here, or you might choose to interlace your fingers. It's up to you. You can draw your arms back. You can lift your gaze up. This is going to bring you into more of a back bend, so we want to be careful of our balance here. We're balancing on that one knee and the other foot. And then we're going to lower our arms down. Separate our hands. Let's bring our hands behind our back. Interlace your fingers. Maybe we hinge forward, right shoulder to the inside of that right knee. You can lift the arms up for a humble warrior. And then let's put our hands down on the inside of this right foot. Ease your hips back and forth here. So move through this really gently. Ankles, knees, hips, hamstrings, and quadriceps are all moving. And then we decide how that feels. If we need a little bit more movement, we can drop that left hip flexor down. We can straighten that right leg. Allow yourself to explore your range of motion here. Now we're going to come back to neutral, bring our right foot back to meet our left. Let's come back to tabletop now. So take a minute and notice how this feels. Again, we can take that left leg back, tuck the toes, level the hips out. Allow yourself to keep your gaze on the mat, neck and shoulders neutral. Slide that left leg across if you like, stretching your left hip. Look over your right shoulder at your left foot if you want a more intense lateral flexion of your spine. Let that left leg come back to center. Step the left leg forward and through. Allow yourself to place your right hand across from that left foot, left hand up your left knee, turn your torso. And you might lift that left arm up again. So we're coming into a modified twisted low lunge. Tuck your toes on your right leg, come off your right kneecap if you need a deeper stretch. And breathe. Now, left hand comes down on the left knee. Set your right knee down. Gently press into your left knee as you come up. Let your arms relax. Decide if you want to lift those arms up overhead, palms facing each other. Interlace your fingers possibly. Draw your arms back behind you. Open through the shoulders. Maybe lift your gaze up toward the ceiling if you want to challenge your balance more. And breathe. And then we're going to lower those arms down. Separate the hands, interlace your fingers. Shoulders draw together. Maybe hinge forward, left shoulder to the inside of that left knee. Lift your arms up, humble warrior. And breathe. And then we're going to put those hands down on the inside of that left foot. Let's ease our hips back and forth here. Once again, breathe and notice. Now, we're going to step that left leg back, take our knees wide, ease back to a wide knee version of child's pose. Stack your hands underneath your forehead. And again, this one's going to let go of more low back tension and stretch your inner thighs a bit more. Now let's place our palms on the mat, lift our head up, lift our hips, bring the knees into neutral. Let's take our hands slightly in front of us, shift our body forward, and then let's let the hips release down toward the mat. So take a minute and notice how this feels. We've already been moving our hips a little bit, but this really does let go of a lot of tension across the front of the hips. You might feel this in the back, a little bit of a back bend. Inhale, lift your hips. Exhale, ease your hips back. So you're welcome to stay here in this version of child's pose, or you can flow through this and start to let go of some more tension in the hips and low back. Take your time with this. Now this time when we come forward, let's tuck our toes, slide our legs back, and come into a Sphinx pose. So we want to have our forearms down on the mat. Our hips are on the mat as well. We're in a slight back bend here. So let's take a moment and notice how this actually feels. The goal here is to relax into this pose. It's a passive back bend, so we do want to let our body relax as much as we can. And then we can decide if we want to move from this into something a little bit more engaged. Possibly tuck your toes on both of your legs and then press through your heels so your kneecaps come up off the mat. So when you do this, we're preparing to come into a forearm plank. So just pressing through your heels and press against those forearms is engaging most of the muscles that you would engage if you were to come into the forearm plank. But if you want to go a little bit further, press against your forearms, press back through your heels, and breathe. Now this time we're going to inhale forward, let those hips come down, stay in Sphinx pose, or stack your hands flat as this and let your head rest on your hands. Still in a passive back bend, a little bit more of a relaxed version. Now, once again, let's go ahead and place those elbows underneath the chest, forearms and palms on the mat. And again, This version of Sphinx pose, as long as we're engaged here, can still be a lot of work here and can help build some strength. But again, we might tuck those toes, press through the heels, press against our forearms, and we're in a forearm plank again. And breathe. Shift forward on the next inhale, and on the exhale, let the tops of the toes come down. So that gives you a way to get into forearm plank, and you don't have to come down into a full face down on the mat kind of position for some people that might find it a little uncomfortable. Now, let's slide our hands back close to our rib cage, palms against the mat, press against your palms and come up off the mat. So this is a pretty good back bend here. And wrists are under the shoulders, so the shoulders are supported. And then we're going to go ahead and take those knees nice and wide this time. Ease our hips back toward our heels. You can come down onto the forearms with hands stacked under your forehead, or you can come all the way down flat onto the mat. Now from here, let's go ahead and come to our tabletop one last time before we move on from here. Let's take that right leg back. Tuck the toes again. Keep your gaze on the mat. Press through your heel. Fully engage your body here, and then decide if you want to also extend that left leg. And breathe. Now set that right knee down, set the left knee down, ease your hips back toward your heels, stack your hands under your forehead. Now we're going to possibly do this 2 more times. It's up to you if you want to, but we're going to be in the pose 3 breaths. So you can take your time, you can come out of it when you need to. So again, you come back to tabletop, wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. This time take your left leg back, tuck your toes, level your hips out, and then decide if you want to extend your right leg. And breathe. Inhaling and exhaling. And on the next exhale, set that right knee down, set the left knee down, ease your hips back. Again, stack your hands under your forehead if you like. So remember, things like this are always optional. It's just a matter of if you want to explore trying something new. And one final time, again, wrists directly under the shoulders, knees under the hips. Setting yourself up for success is always the best way. So either right leg or left leg goes back first, whichever one you feel more comfortable with. And then extend the other leg and just 3 breaths here. From here, let those knees come down. Let's walk our hands back in. Let's come off our knees all together for a moment or two. Let's bring the soles of our feet together. Let our knees drop open. Try something different. This is good for hip opening. Now, feet can be out further from you or they can be in closer to you. Allow yourself to notice where it feels comfortable to you. If the knees drop open and they're almost to the floor, that's a good sign that you're not trying to stress your hips too much. You can bring them in a little closer if you want, but again, you might feel a little more intensity in the hips. You can rock a little bit side to side to loosen up the hips. You might even decide to put your hands slightly behind your hips. Now, I'm generally going to press into the hands right around the base of the fingers or palms, but bring those hands in close and just, rather than trying to lift yourself up off the floor, you're trying to just take some of the tension out of the low back. You might find your knees drop open a little bit easier here. And breathe. So there's a lot of factors in what limits our mobility in certain poses. So by this, lifting away from the floor, the knees release and drop toward the floor a little bit easier because your hip flexors are not hindered. And let's go ahead and possibly bring our hands to our ankles and sit up a little taller with the hands wrapped around the ankles. Keep your elbows in close. We're trying to elongate the neck and let the shoulders drop down a little bit. And breathe. We're going to go ahead and move into a comfortable wide-legged pose and allow yourself to notice how this feels. We're going to sit up tall. We are going to scoot forward, so we're sitting more toward the top of our thighs rather than near our tailbone. Let your hands rest here. Maybe draw your toes towards you. Maybe you decide to point and flex your feet a few times. So this isn't a very big movement, but this can be great for feet. If you've been on your feet all day, it can work out some of the tension in your feet. It does stretch the muscles in your legs. It's all fairly gentle and mild. Maybe you decide to circle your ankles a few times. It's going to work through the joints in the ankles, stretch the muscles in the feet. Maybe you decide to flex those feet. Place your hands in front, lean forward from your hip flexors. Maybe walk your hands out away from you. The key is to notice when your body starts to indicate to you that it might be enough. It doesn't have to be your maximum stretch, but when you do get to a place where your body says, I think we're getting close, give yourself a chance to relax. Let your body, your elbows bend a little bit, let your shoulders soften. You might even move your hands to your shins. So getting into that place where you start to meet that resistance and then allowing your body to relax will generally let you go further than just pushing on through it. And it's especially more likely to give you a more pleasurable, less painful experience. And so once your body starts to relax, you can ease out a little bit more. Try to stay like you're hinging at your hip flexors, your low back's long and straight. And breathe. Maybe come down toward the forearms. Make sure that neck is nice and relaxed. Walk your hands back in. Let's go ahead and bring our right leg in front. Take the left leg back behind us, and as you sit, make sure that we're comfortable here. Doing things out of order, this is our gentle thing that we usually start with, but then coming into it after moving a little bit more, maybe you have to be a little more conscientious of areas that are already a little bit tense or tight or worked. So let's put the hands on either side of this knee. And on the exhale, let's just bend our elbows and lower down toward the leg. Take your time with this. It is going to add compression to your abdomen, thigh, and hip. Elbows in close to your sides. And then inhale, lift up through the crown of the head. So we're going to do this 2 more times. Again, slow somatic movement. Notice what you're feeling and where. And breathe. One final time. Exhale. And inhale. And so now we're already in a twist. We want to twist a little deeper. Let's bring our hands to the outside of the knee. Maybe walk the hands all the way back toward the hip. So just check it. When you feel like you've gone far enough, let's stop there. And then maybe walk out with our hands into a little bit of a forward fold over that leg. So it's a twist and a forward fold. Generally a calming pose, but again, ask yourself how it actually feels to you. Walk your hands back in. You can put your right hand behind your hip. Hips can stay down. Or you might lift the hips up. Stretch out your hip flexors. Reach your left arm up and over. And then we're going to lower our hand down to the mat. We're going to lower our hips. Extend that left leg out. Keep our right leg centered. And place your hands in front of the ankle. Now, let's lean forward a bit. Bend your elbows at first. That's going to lengthen your spine. We do want to keep that low back elongated. Walk your hands out until your body starts to resist. So when you get to a place where this feels like it's enough, let's give ourselves permission to relax. Maybe come down onto your forearms. Now walk your hands over to your extended leg. You can put your hands on your thigh, you can slide your hands to your ankle. Let's notice how this feels. And breathe. See if you can relax your shoulders into this a little bit more. We're going to walk those hands back in. Let's bring this left leg in front of the right, easy seated, maybe foot on knee, knee on foot for square. You can bring knee on top of knee for shoelace, or sit any way that you want. So if none of these quite work for you, but you can modify into something similar, try that. Take your arms out, bring your right arm over the left, give yourself a big hug. Notice how this feels. It's going to give you a nice stretch across the upper back. It's calming across the chest, arms across the chest. Allow yourself to hinge forward. Now, this is going to deepen the stretch in shoulders and hips. It's going to add some compression in the abdomen. And generally, forward folds are calming. So just check in with this and see how it feels to you. Now, inhale, we're going to come back up. And on the exhale, let's unwind the arms, extend them out, press the palms away, open up space across your chest and upper back. And then we're going to sit nice and tall as we bring the hands down beside us, so that as we sit taller, it does give our hands a chance to release down toward the floor. You might want to try pressing the palms toward the floor gently. This is going to keep a lot of space open in the neck and shoulders. Let's lower the chin to the chest at this time. Just stretch the back of the neck a bit. Now, let's go ahead and take that chin toward the right shoulder. Look out over the right shoulder. Lift your chin up. Bring your head to center. Turn to the left. Lower the chin down and back to center. So a couple more circles here. Take your time as you do this. And breathe. So we want to keep a lot of space open in our neck so that the vertebrae are not compressing at all. So we're just focusing on moving the muscles. One final circle. And when your head comes back to center this time, let's pause. Lift your head up. Release your hands a bit. And then we're going to go ahead and do this again on the other side. Left leg forward, right leg back. Allow yourself to place your hands on either side of this knee. And on the exhale, bend your elbows and lower down. You might try it with just using your fingertips. If you're engaging your shoulders too much and it feels too tense there, staying on the fingertips is going to be less likely that you're going to tense up your shoulders. Inhale, lift. Exhale, bend your elbows and lower down. Inhale, lifting up. One final time, exhale. Once more on the inhale. Now, take the hands to the outside of the knee, walk the hands back toward the hip, stay upright in this twist, or fold over the leg and come down onto your forearms and deer toes. And breathe. Walk those hands back in. You might place your left hand behind your hip, stay down on the mat, or maybe lift the hips up, stretch them, reach that right arm up and over. And then we're going to lower back down to the mat, extend our right leg out, keep your left leg centered. Let's place our hands in front of the ankle and lean forward. Walk your hands out until you feel like you've got the forward fold that feels good to you. We don't have to push through pain or discomfort. And then let's walk our hands over to that extended leg. As you fold over that leg, again, notice how the extended leg feels, but notice your opposite hip as well. And breathe. Now we're going to walk those hands back in again. Bring that right leg in front. Stack the foot on the knee. Or go for shoelace, knee on top of knee. Take your arms out to shoulder height. Left arm over the right. Give yourself a big hug. Now notice how this feels. Again, this is going to be a good way to stretch the muscles of the upper back. Stay upright. or decide if you want to come forward here. Deepen the stretch in the shoulders and hips, adding some compression to the abdomen. Forward folds are calming. And breathe. And we are going to come back up. And on the exhale, unwind the arms nice and slow. Extend the space across the chest and upper back. Let your hands come down beside you. Elongate the neck, shoulders drop down. Turn your fingers toward the back of the mat if you need to open across the chest a little bit more. And then lower your chin to your chest. Notice the stretch in the back of the neck. You can go ahead and turn your head toward the left shoulder. Take your time as you do this. Explore your range of motion. Keep your neck elongated as you lift your head up. Bring it to center. Turn it to the right and lower your chin back down and back to center. So maybe a couple more circles like this. Take your time and breathe. Final time. Now when your chin comes back to center, let's pause. Lift your head up. Now move into a position that feels comfortable for you. You can stay in the position you're in now or sit in some other way. But we're going to go ahead and extend our arms out in front, palms up, fingers spread out in front of you. And on the exhale, we're going to slowly bring those fingertips to the shoulders. Take your time as we do this. Inhale, extending your arms. So this is somatic movement for the shoulders. Exhale, fingertips to the shoulders. Once more, inhale. And once more on the exhale. Now, when your fingertips come back to the shoulders here, we're going to pause. Now, check in with where you have your elbows at this point. If they're up pretty high and I start to open my shoulders tends to bother me. That may not be the case for you, but you might drop your elbows a little bit because we are going to open the elbows out. And on the exhale, bring the elbows toward each other. So you can make adjustments with these things. We don't want to push through pain to accomplish the pose. Inhale, open your elbows out. Exhale, elbows draw toward each other. One more time, inhale. And once more on the exhale. Now when the elbows come together this time, we'll interlace our fingers. Inhale, open your elbows out, and we want the palms to be facing down and to have our arms parallel with each other. Exhale, elbows toward each other. Inhale. Exhale. Once more, inhale. And once more on the exhale. Now we're going to go ahead and lift our left arm up, fingertips reaching up toward the ceiling, and then place that left palm in the center of the shoulder blade. So we still want our torso to be pretty upright, elbow lifting. Work your hand down between the shoulder blades. You're going to get a really good stretch in your tricep. We don't think about the triceps all that much, or at least I don't, because they're behind me. So notice how this feels and breathe. And then we're going to go ahead and release that hand down. Let's bring the other arm up. Again, we're going to bend at the elbow, place that palm between the shoulder blades. And this one is a little bit harder for me because I have a lot of tension in my shoulder. But bringing the hand toward the center of your spine, you can take that hand behind the elbow to get a little bit more. And then allow yourself to hold in that position and draw the elbow back a little bit. And then we're going to go ahead and release that down. So all these things are good for the joints and the shoulders. It's just a matter of what works for you, what doesn't. So now we're going to go ahead and come onto our backs for some supine position. We're going to place our feet on the mat. Ease your hips toward your heels. Slowly lower down to constructive rest pose. Now let's press into our feet, lift our hips up off the mat a little bit, and allow yourself to make adjustments here. The wider the feet, the more asymmetrical the movement will be in our hips. Make sure your hips feel balanced, the arch of your back is relaxed. Lift your head up, elongate your neck. Let your hands rest on your rib cage or possibly away from your body if you like. And let's take a little time to let those knees sway side to side. Relax and breathe. Although this is not a very structured movement and it's not a very intense movement, it can let go of a lot of tension in your body. As the knees drop closer and closer to the floor, you'll notice any areas in your ankles, knees, or hips that feel resistant to this movement. You might start to notice your shoulders relaxing onto the mat, especially if you have your palms facing upward. It allows the shoulders to relax closer and closer to the floor. Well, let's just take your time with this. Even though this seems like a pretty simplistic movement, it can really give you a lot of benefits. Now, let's come back to center. With your feet wide, turn your toes in toward the center, let your knees rest against each other. This is a passive internal rotation of your thighs. You're going to notice this in the hip joints and in the knees, maybe even in the ankles. Passive poses target connective tissue. So allow your body to relax into this. Walk our feet close to each other now. Ankles and knees touching. This time we're going to let the soles of the feet come together. Let your knees open out. So the knees are not necessarily going to get all the way to the floor at this point because we're in this particular position. It is going to stress the connective tissue in the hip joints. So notice how this feels to you here and breathe. Gravity is going to pull your knees toward the floor. It's going to land in the connective tissue, stressing the connective tissue, which is what connective tissue needs in order for it to become lengthened, to let go of the resistance that it experiences. We don't want to force it. We don't want to press our knees toward the floor. Just allow them to relax and release at the pace that the body feels ready. Now let's go ahead and bring those knees back to center. Ankles and knees touching this time. Let your knees shift over to the left. Extend your right arm out. Look towards your right hand here. So now you're twisting your spine from the base of the skull to the tailbone. As you extend that right arm out, you're opening the right shoulder. You can reach through those fingers. You can press the back of the forearm down into the mat. There's a lot of nuance you can get in this pose. You might gently turn your head to the right a little bit more and breathe. So we're not looking for pain. We're looking for a slight deepening of the pose. And then we're going to let the knees come back to center. This time we're going to let our knees shift over to the right. Extend your left arm out, palm up, look toward that left hand, and give yourself permission just to relax here just a little bit. Again, you can reach through those fingers. You can press the shoulder toward the mat a bit more. Notice how it feels above and below your collarbone, across the chest and upper back and neck. Turn your head a little bit more toward the hand if you need a little bit of a deepening of the stretch in the neck. So now when you start to move into these subtle adjustments to the poses, you're going to find depth that you didn't know was there with very little effort. That's the goal, is to find a little deepening of whatever pose you're doing, but only where it feels safe. And then we're going to go ahead and bring that hand in, bring your head back to center. Now let's bring our left knee in toward our chest. As we bring the knee in toward the chest, let your hand, your interlaced fingers rest on your knee or your shin. So that knee drawing in towards your chest is going to add a little compression on the left side of the abdomen. Take a minute and notice how this feels. Now you might go ahead and Let that left hand rest on the left knee. Let's make some circles with this hip. Move that knee to the outside of the torso. Allow that knee to open out away from the body. Extend your left arm out away from your shoulder. Bring the knee across the center point over toward the right side of the body, and then let the knee come back up toward the shoulder. We're going to do 2 more of these circles. Take your time as you move through this and breathe. One final circle. By moving slowly through the range of motion of any joint like this, it's going to make a big difference in your mobility. Now, let's bring that knee to the outside of the torso. Lift the sole of the foot up toward the ceiling. Let your hand rest on the outside of that left foot as the knee comes toward the floor. Half happy baby. And breathe. You might decide to loop your fingers around that big toe. Let's extend the left leg all the way up toward the ceiling. Now, as you extend that leg out, you're going to get a nice stretch through the back of the leg. If you don't want to hold on to the toe, you could use a strap or just place your hand somewhere on the leg. But we're going to let this leg open out to the side. So take your time as you open the left leg out to the left side of the body. So we want to take this nice and slow so we don't compromise the joints in any way. And breathe. Now from here, with that leg extending out with your fingers on that big toe, you're getting a shoulder stretch, you're getting a back of the leg stretch, inner thigh stretch. And then we're going to go ahead and rebend that knee, let it come back to center. Now I'm probably going to flip around for the other side because it'll be a little easier for you to see. So let's bring that right knee in toward our chest. A little bit of compression on the right side of the abdomen. And notice how this feels. And breathe. Keep your right hand on that right knee. Let's open the knee out to the side. Take your time. Relax and notice how it feels. Notice that it could feel very different on this side versus the other side. We never know exactly how the body's going to feel on each side. But we do know sometimes that not everything is 100% symmetrical when we're doing various poses. So let's not expect the body to feel the same way on one side versus the other. So take your time. We're going to make the 3 full somatic circles. 1 more circle in this direction. And breathe. Now when your knee comes back in toward the center, we're going to allow it to move to the outside of the torso. Allow yourself to maybe reach for that big toe. Lift the sole of that foot up. You can start to open that leg out to the side and breathe. So good inner thigh stretch, back of the leg stretch, shoulder stretch. And rebend that knee. Let's bring both knees to the center. Let's place our hands behind our thighs. Maybe extend the legs up toward the ceiling, partially or fully. Keep your hands here for support if you like, or take them away. So legs up the wall or inversion. Great inversion. One of those ones that hopefully we can do for the rest of our lives. We can always use props, the headboard, the wall, a chair, whatever we like. But we can always do it very passively too. We don't have to fully straighten the legs, but it does help your circulation, strengthens your heart and digestive system, gives you an opportunity to stretch your legs if that's what you need as well. And breathe. You can circle your ankles a few times maybe. Back in the other direction. We might go ahead and reach up for both big toes, loop our fingers around the big toes, press through the soles of the feet. Again, this is a good place to use a strap or, a soft belt or something like that to use to support your legs if by chance the arms are not reaching the toes. And breathe. Now from here, let's bring the soles of the feet together. And maybe interlace your fingers around the feet, open the knees out, supine butterfly. So as you press the soles of the feet together, press your knees away from each other. This is going to give you a really good focused inner thigh stretch. And breathe. You can press the knees away from your shoulders, and that's going to deepen the stretch, but we don't have to. We probably are getting a pretty good stretch even without that additional effort. We can reach for the edges of the feet, lift the soles of the feet up toward the ceiling. Happy baby. Deep stretch in your hips if you hold on to the edges of the feet. Make it a little bit lighter by taking your hands away. There's both good options. Allow yourself to notice. You can rock from knee to knee. Give yourself a full back massage while you're here. Breathe. Maybe we loop our fingers around the big toes and just straighten both legs out. Supine wide-legged pose. Flex the feet, draw the toes toward the crown of the head, let your shoulders stay relaxed. And breathe. Let's bring the feet back to center. Bring the knees together. Set your left foot down and put your right foot over on top of the left knee. Supine pigeon, gentle hip opening stretch here. Bounce the knee for a little bit more if you'd like. You might decide to slide your right knee over on top of the left knee. Let your knees drop over the left side of the body. Extend your right arm out. So now this is a supine spinal twist with a much deeper hip stretch. If you get this far into it and then you decide you don't need as much hip stretch, uncross your knees. Still good for the spine, good shoulder stretch, good hip stretch. But crossing knee over knee like this just gives you a much more intense stretch in that hip. Let the knees come back to center. And on the exhale, let's uncross the knees. Place the left foot over on top of the right knee. And again, you can just hang out here, let the hip open, nice gentle stretch. You can bring that right knee into your chest. Wrap your hand around that shin if you like for a deeper stretch. And breathe. Now we're going to let that right foot come down. Let your left knee cross over on top. And notice how this feels. Again, internal rotation of your thighs targets deep in your hip, your piriformis muscle. We can stay with this if this is enough for us. But if you want to drop the knees to the right, you can. Extend your left arm out. Look towards your left hand. And breathe. Reach through those fingers, press the shoulder toward the mat. A lot of different nuances you can add to these poses as well. And breathe. Now we're going to go ahead and bring both legs back to center. And on the exhale, let's uncross the legs, maybe sliding our feet all the way to the end of the mat. Let your palms rest up away from your body in Shavasana pose. Or roll onto your side or your abdomen for child's pose or crocodile pose. Give yourself permission to find that place where you can rest in stillness now for the next few minutes. Again, it's the most important part of the practice, but a lot of times people are just ready to get on with whatever activities they have, but giving yourself that short break at the end where you can just let your body take in everything that it experienced, noticing how the body feels as you rest in stillness. Notice places where the body still needs more attention for whatever reason. Maybe we didn't quite attend to those areas like we should have, or maybe we did too much in those areas. So allow yourself to take stock of that, take note. Allow yourself to notice any breathing struggles you might have. If you're a little anxious, if you're breathing shallow, maybe your breathing's nice and deep. Allow yourself to check in with your breath. Pay attention to it. Don't try to fix it or change it. Give yourself permission not to judge the breath. Let go of trying to control it. Just allow the breath to be as it is. Pay attention. Again, that's a part of the autonomic nervous system. So when we get to the place where we're struggling with our breathing, give yourself permission to take a step back. Let go of control. Give your body permission to take care of the breathing for itself. And then allow yourself to begin to notice distractions around you, the temperature, the air, the light, smells, textures. Give yourself permission to notice your emotions, your thoughts, ideas, and beliefs. It's when we come into stillness, that's when things tend to present themselves to us for our attention. Again, the whole point of yoga is to be able to come to this place in the practice and allow whatever's there to be there without any judgment, without judging ourselves, without trying to fix it or change it. Whatever it might be, giving those distractions permission to be there, to be seen, to be observed. But know that we don't actually have to fix or change anything that comes up for us right now. It's enough for us just to be, just to observe, notice, and let go of needing to fix or change anything so that we can begin to remember that we're enough exactly as we are. Again, that doesn't mean we won't fix or change things in life, because we certainly will. We're constantly changing. But giving ourselves permission to take some time out each day to just remember that we're enough, then we don't actually have to fix or change everything that needs fixing and changing. There's so many things in this world that need attended to. But how often do we give ourselves permission to just be exactly as we are and remember that that's enough, that we're enough? Think about what the world would be like if we all just remember that. Now, when it feels right to you, allow yourself to start to move again. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, allow yourself to stretch. Take your time and slowly and gradually make your way back up to a comfortable, upright, seated posture at your own pace. Take a moment and consider your intention for the rest of the evening. What it is you want to experience, where you want to keep your focus. I want to thank you all for sharing your practice with me tonight. I honor the place in you which is of love, of truth, of light, and of peace, from my heart to yours. Namaste.